It's me, Gurug. I'm going to explain what is cloud hosting. The cloud hosting, now people think cloud means the cloud and hosting somewhere hosting. Actually, it's not like that. The cloud hosting is just like simple as anyway, like you have hardware, you store the data, right? So what happened, like big company like Amazon and Google and Microsoft on this gigantic server racks and somewhere in the country, like say in USA, Europe, or etc., where there's data they host it, right? The gigantic servers with the wires and facility and etc. Now, how is it work for us? We connect via internet connection, right? You have internet connection, I have internet connections. So what happened is that when let's say they allocate us a cloud space, it's just like you have virtual computer. Virtual computer, simple as that. In this virtual computer, you can install your own operating system, like a Linux, like a Unix, like a Microsoft. So, but I recommend to use Linux. So let's say I use Linux Ubuntu operating system, and I purchase this X cloud server from, let's say, Google or Microsoft, etc. Let's say I purchase from Amazon a cloud server where there is a host of 1 GB RAM, 10 GB a space, and 1 terabyte of bandwidth. 1 GB RAM, we all know that. What is 1 GB RAM? 1 core processor, you also know that. 10 GB SSD storage, that's like hard disks you have, they use SSD. And 1 terabyte which means input and output data connections. They use amount of space in, so we use terabyte is a 1000 GB. So let's say your server or your website, let's say make connection with the rest of the world in and out in total amount of 1 terabyte. So there is a limit of 1 terabyte. After that you have to pay money. So it meant 1 terabyte 1000 GB worth of connections. So it called bandwidth. Simple as that. Okay, I make it very simple. The complicated part is kind of different one. Now you have bandwidth, now you have RAM, now you have processor, now you have hard disk. What you do? You install your operating system on it. I install, let's say, Linux Ubuntu. Now I install Linux Ubuntu. What am I gonna do next? I'm gonna install either Apache software, server software, or either Nginx. I use Nginx, which is Nginx is quite fastest. So I use Nginx. Now Nginx is just not enough. I have to install PHP on it. I have to install MySQL on it. I have to install PHP MyAdmin, which handle PHP and MySQL. This is just like everything that you do on your computer. It's the same thing I'm doing on this virtual computer, virtual cloud servers. Now I have to I have to do everything manually, just like you do everything manually on your server. I have to compile the file, I have to write software, I have to create these folders, these files. Then once it's done, I have to attach with a live server with IP. Once I install IP, I have to implement security on network security. I have to put network firewall, I have to put a server firewall, I have to put operating system firewall. Then this thing is done. Now your website is live. Your IP is given by your own cloud server provider, and so you don't need to worry about that. Depending upon what kind of cloud you can some like Amazon offer elastic IP, which is constant static IP. So it doesn't need to worry about all this IP. They're gonna provide you, but they're gonna charge you money for that. Okay. Remember, the only thing you need is computer, and you have to connect internet connection. And if you have the more deep knowledge, you need FTP software like a FileZilla or something, and Putty or something. So Putty is a software and FileZilla is software to connect. It help you to connect directly through your server, and you can upload direct your website and folder file in that. Okay, simple as that. Now you done all this stuff. Your website, and now you have to install WordPress virtually. Just like you install WordPress on your website in your computer, you have to do the same thing on this virtual. And once you've done that, you have to install your website. And once you've done your website is live on cloud server. Simple as that. Same thing you do for apps, same thing you do for something else. Let's assume you have a terabytes worth of data, but your computer is getting lost. Sometimes your computer gets destroyed. Sometimes, let's say you're living in India and your other person need to access from USA, or you're living in US and you need somebody need access from India. So how can do that? How you cannot send terabytes worth of data on internet. It cannot possible to upload terabytes and download terabytes. So what do, you can host this terabyte worth of data on cloud, and then you can have access from anywhere in the world. It doesn't even download. It's just like your virtual computer where all this data is saved, and you can have access and you can use it. It's just like you have hosted a simple Excel file in a Google Drive, and anybody can have access from this drive, and anybody can use it, anybody can save it. Same thing happen here in Google Cloud. You can also hold website, you can also hold app, you can also hold your private data, you can also hold your office data, your office backup on it. It's perfectly fine. The benefit is it can be happen to anything. Your computer get lost, destroyed, laptop get destroyed. Let's assume something bad happened, earthquake, tsunami happened. So what happened? This data is stored on cloud, and if the cloud server, let's say your host cloud server allow backup, then you can even have backup of that data, which means if anything happened to the main data, you can have this, you can restore it back. So that is a cloud. Cloud is a very awesome technology. That's why people are talking all about cloud, and I make it simple for you. What is cloud? How can you use it? My current website and my old client website is hosted on cloud server. I use the Surface cloud server. We have our own operating system, our own engineering software, PHP, MySQL, and we able to use WordPress hosting on that. It's quite simple. Okay, so please like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to visit techguruji and Thank you.